What's going on, guys, and the women that watch the station? Thank you very much. You're helping the algorithm. So today I want to talk about Ethereum, and I'm going to go through a couple really important charts showing where Ethereum probably or possibly may end up at the end of this cycle. So this chart here and a couple other ones from Into the Cryptoverse, which I will leave a link below if you want to get access to these charts, and also talking about what happens when Bitcoin dominance drops and what that means for Ethereum, what we're seeing right now, and a couple huge stories about Ethereum inflows and why that is affecting positively the price of Ethereum, and talking a little bit to Tom Lee, who is a very, very bullish person on Bitcoin and Ethereum. So let's get started really quick with this. Google Trends is showing the search term Ethereum is nowhere near where we saw the peak of 2021. We aren't even close. That was 100. We are at a 33 right now. And yeah, so that metric, not a big deal. So this is a great chart, ETH logarithmic regression rainbow. And what this shows is where ETH went to in the previous cycles. So let's take a look at the last cycle in 2021. It just broke over this green band. Right now, that would put ETH at over $17,000 if it crossed band 7. And taking this out a little farther in the year, which I believe has a higher likelihood of showing the top for ETH, that could put ETH at over 19K. So that's if it mirrors what it did in 2021. Now, before I head to these charts and other stories as well, I want to hear from Tom Lee on what he has to say about this.
And I know Mark Newton, our head of technicals, thinks it's 5,000 is doable near term, but
okay, so 5,000 is doable near term. First off,
similar to Circle, it's more between 10 and 20,000.
Okay, and possibly $10,000 to $20,000. And Ethereum is rallying for a couple reasons. We are getting more clarity, pun intended, with the Genius Act that was just passed that governs stablecoins, and soon the Clarity Act, which should be passed as well later this year. And right here, Ethereum ETFs smash records with $2.12 billion of weekly inflows. So that is another reason that Ethereum is crushing it right now. And a little bit more about Tom Lee's fund. So he says, we are well on our way to achieving our goal of acquiring and staking 5% of the ETH supply. So they are doing essentially what Michael Saylor has been doing with MicroStrategy. So let's take a look back to the Into the Cryptoverse charts. Again, link below if you want access and a 10% discount on these charts. So this is the ETH logarithmic regression band, okay? So right now, we are above the top green band. So some people could think, okay, are we in a bubble? Is ETH coming back down? Well, in the chart I showed before, we haven't nearly touched where we were in the previous cycles when ETH topped out. And going back again right here, the search volume on Google is super, super low for Ethereum. So to me, that just points to no, ETH is not in a massive bubble territory. You can see here during the bear market, right around here, 2022, 2023, Ethereum, ETH was still above this top green band. And that's where we are right now. So we are coming back into the range where we were during the lowest points in the market. So we haven't nearly reached these insanely high peaks for ETH. Right here, ETH market cycle bottom ROI. So how well has ETH performed? Its return on investment from the very, very bottom of the market. This is where we are right now. We are at a 3.79 or so, 3.73x. And that's taken from the very, very bottom of ETH way back in 2022, the very lowest price that ETH went to this cycle. And you can see back in 2021, ETH did a massive 58x, okay? So it's interesting because there are such things as diminishing returns where as a market gets larger, it takes more and more capital to see the same X% gains, right? So some people are like, well, we're not going to hit what we did in 2021. That could be true, but we are very, very, very far away. Again, in 2021, we were over a 50x, and right now we're sitting at around a 3.7x. So I still believe, especially going back to Ethereum's ETFs doing incredibly well, companies like Bitmine buying 5% of the overall ETH supply and staking it, so essentially taking it off the market. And I believe other companies will be following in this company's footsteps. Just like we're seeing other companies follow MicroStrategy, buy Bitcoin, put it on their balance sheet, and that's it. They don't do anything with the Bitcoin, they just hold it. So I think we're going to see more of these companies doing the same thing with ETH. And finally, this is ETH year-to-date ROI. So how well has Ethereum done in 2025 versus 2021 and 2017? Well, we are still massively underperforming for the year. Even though ETH isn't doing that bad, we are at a 1x, right? So we are at the same price that ETH started 2025. In 2021, we were at around a 2.7x, and then in 2017, a 27x. Now I can see ETH still underperforming 2021 and 2017, but that could still be, like I showed in these charts right here, that could still be a massively higher price. So even if we hit this lower green band, that would still put ETH at around 9K. Pushed out a little farther in the year, 10K possibly, right? Obviously no guarantees, but I think a 2x, a lot of people wouldn't even get excited about, ironically. So ETH right now at around $3,700. If it did a 2x, I think a lot of people would be disappointed. So in normal worlds, not in crypto, doing a 2x is incredible, right? Doubling your money is incredible. But in crypto land, a lot of people are like, bleh, boring. So let me just dive into this chart and this chart because they're important. The first one is others dominance, and that's on the top right here. This shows the market cap of everything other than the top 10. So that's a good thing if you want altcoins to rally. Now there is a direct correlation between everything other than the top 10 rallying and Ethereum, which is going to be on the bottom. So we can see that even over the last couple days, others dominance went up 18%, ETH went up 62%, right? In a very short period of time. Going back to 2021 right here, we saw a massive spike for others dominance, and Ethereum went up basically 400% in that time. So how it usually works in cycles is Bitcoin hits a new all-time high, it consolidates for a while, it kind of just chills out. That's kind of what we're seeing in Bitcoin right now. Then we see money flow into top layer ones like Ethereum, Sui, Solana, XRP, and others, right? And then people take more and more risk. People go crazy into just smaller market cap coins. But what we're seeing right now is Bitcoin leveling off and ETH rallying. And this is exactly what has happened in previous cycles. And right here, this is Bitcoin dominance and ETH on the bottom. As Bitcoin dominance went down right here at the end of 2024, we saw ETH rally about 30% towards the end of the year. And recently, Bitcoin dominance dropped quite a bit, and we saw ETH rally even more, around 55, 60% or so, depending on where you want to start this. So the big one is right here. This is 2021, when Bitcoin dominance dropped around 45%. And we saw ETH from that point and a little bit further rally and do a 400% gain, right? So just huge moves from Ethereum. And what we're seeing is a pretty sizable drop to Bitcoin dominance. And I'll cover this in future videos, so make sure to subscribe to catch those. But yeah, I mean, Bitcoin dominance dropped a ton. Taking a look at the weekly chart is pretty substantial. This is actually a huge drop for the week right here. So that's what we're seeing. That's what we're looking at for ETH. I think a very conservative valuation for ETH for this cycle would be a 2x. That would be a conservative, in my opinion, valuation. What's interesting is in 2021, a lot of people were saying ETH is going to go to $10,000, and it didn't. So I think just taking what we saw in 2021 and moving it to this cycle is psychologically comforting, and I think makes a lot of sense. ETH to 10K seems like a very reasonable, not crazy prediction. And I could be wrong, right? Anything can happen, but that's, a little over a 2x from now. And will it go higher? It totally could. If more companies begin to buy ETH, take it off the market, stake it, if we see Bitcoin rally even higher and higher, and then it consolidates, and then we see again the money flow into Ethereum like we are seeing right now. So really it's dependent on what Bitcoin does. Like it or hate it, Bitcoin is the granddaddy and it moves the market. And really quick guys, before I end the video, a lot of you guys have asked me, where do I keep my crypto? And this is one place that I've held crypto for a while. This is a Roth retirement account, IRA. I have around $20,000 in Bitcoin, and it's appreciated 235%. So I opened this up, I think 3 or 4 years ago. This is with iTrust Capital. So you can create a retirement account or roll over an existing retirement account, and then you can buy whatever crypto you want. Bitcoin, you can have ETH, and I think they have like 50 plus other coins that you can buy. Just to check it out right here. Yeah. So they offer a lot of different altcoins as well, if you would like to hold that in your retirement account. And they recently just opened up these custody accounts. And if I scroll down here, they're using the big daddies to custody your crypto. Coinbase Prime, Wells Fargo, Fidelity Digital Assets, right? And the benefit of this is that it's a lot safer, meaning if somebody gets into your account, they cannot transfer your Bitcoin or Ethereum off into their cold storage. There's a lot of features that you don't get with exchanges like Coinbase and Gemini. So I'll leave a link below if you want to check out their retirement accounts or the custody accounts. But I just want to let you know this is a company that I use myself and I have for many, many years. Hope you guys are doing well, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to catch future updates on the market and what's going on. Till next time, talk with you soon, and bye for now.